You may practice the one finger per fret technique like this. This exercise is great for the absolute beginner because it's easy to remember and it largely removes any musical content, so you can purely focus on technique. However, this can become very boring very quickly. So in this video, I'm going to give you a 3-step process to keep you motivated to practice the one finger per fret technique. Step 1 is the 1, 2, 3, 4 exercise. Like I said earlier, it's good to figure out the technique with this simple exercise. So as the name suggests, you just use one finger per fret. So if we take the first 4 frets here, we use first finger on the first fret, second finger on the second fret, third finger on the third fret, fourth finger on the fourth fret. So I feel that the best way to do this is to have the fingers at a bit of an angle. So you play frets 1, 2, 3, 4 on the E string, then move to the A string, then move to the D string, and then finally the G string. Once you get to the highest point, you can move it up one and then come back. So it's 5, 4, 3, 2. So like I said earlier, once you practice this for a while, it's time to introduce something a little bit more musical. And what could be more musical than the root of all Western music, the major scale? You can play this in any key, but I'm going to start on the 8th fret for the C major. So as you can see, we're using first finger on the 7th fret, second finger on the 8th fret, third finger on the 9th fret, and then a little finger on the 10th fret. So the finger pattern here is 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4. At first, you'll find that your fingers are kind of flying off in all kinds of directions. The aim is to get them to sort of just hover over the strings and not fly around too much. To achieve this, you want to try and use as little pressure as possible. At first, it may feel like you have to wrestle with the bass a little bit, but if you keep practicing, it'll become easier and easier as your fingers become more dexterous. Once you feel comfortable with the major scale, it's time to try some classic bass lines. I'm going to give you 3 that lend themselves to the one finger per fret technique. So the first bass line I'm going to look at is a gospel style bass line. I believe this is referred to as a shout bass line. So we're going to do it in the key of D. So we're starting on D, that's the 5th fret of the A string. We're going to play that with a little finger. And then we're going to come down and play the F sharp, the G sharp, and the A. That's frets 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to play that with fingers 1, 2, 3, 4. Next, we're going to come up to the A string and play frets 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's a very basic version of it, and you can loop that round and round. But you can make it slightly more complex by going on to the next octave. You can make that more complex again by going on to a 3rd octave. The next song we're going to use is ABC by the Jackson 5. This is in the key of A flat major, and it uses all the notes from the A flat major scale. So it starts off on the 4th fret, then we're going to go to the 6th fret, then the next string, the 3rd fret. So that's fingers 2, 4, and 1. And then you just repeat that again. Then you repeat it a 3rd time, but you keep ascending up the major scale. So that is fingers 2, 4, 1, frets 4, 6, and 3. So all together so far. Then we're going to go to the A flat on the 6th fret of the D string and play down the major scale. That's fingers 4, 3, and 1. Then to finish off, we're going to use fingers 2, 4, and 2. That's on the 4th fret, 6th fret of the A string and the 4th fret of the E string. All together. The last song we're going to look at is I Wish by Stevie Wonder. So I've seen this played in many different ways. The way we're going to do it is just use the first 4 frets on some of the open strings. So this is how it goes. So we're going to start off with the first finger on the first fret of the D string. Then we're going to come down and play the second fret of the E string, and then the 4th fret of the E string, and then the 1st fret of the A string. And that is fingers 1, 2, 4, 1. I'm going to come back to that 4th as well. The next bit is the 3rd finger on the 3rd fret, little finger on the 4th fret, an open string on the D, and then 1st finger on the 1st fret. So all together. The next bit is the little finger on the 4th fret, the 1st finger on the 1st fret, and the 3rd finger on the 3rd fret, and then back to the 1st finger. So cool, all together. And finally, it's back down to the 3rd fret on the A string, 4th fret on the A string, and then open on the D. And then you're back to the beginning. And then you can kind of loop that round. If you'd like to support this channel, I've left a link to my ebook down below. Thanks for watching.